Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. And in this segment, I'm going to be going over what is going on in Sudan. There's actually displacement and a lot of war going on in the last 2 years, in fact, very current. And a lot of people have died, a lot of violence against women, a lot of things that is going on that is violation of human rights. So it's important to shed light on some of this. So let's go ahead and get started here. Sudan has has one of the world's most severe humanitarian security and displacement crises. So the two factions that are fighting here, and this has a long history from al-Bashir and the coup that took place in 1989. So there was an ousting of one of the leaders, and once the leader went, there was a power vacuum, and after that, there has been a civil war. But the civil war is not just a war; it's a lot of different humanitarian violations that are taking place. So this is, as I said, not 2 years, 3 years of intense conflict, with frontline shifting and violence expanding across multiple regions. So the communities in Darfur and Kordofan, they're facing extreme hunger, extreme danger, and disease, and limited stability in part of Khartoum and Al Jazeera. So a lot of the displaced families, some of them can't return home, others can. There has been unprecedented protection. The conflict has produced an unprecedented protection crisis with atrocities, impunity, and widespread violations. So, what are the human rights abuses? What are some of the things that are going on? Well, massacres, which is terrible, ethnic targeting, kidnappings, summary executions, terrible, terrible things that's going on across Darfur, which is one of the capital cities, and Kordofan. Artillery shelling, drone strikes, and air strikes have intensely hit populated areas, schools, markets, water plants, and health facilities, something that paralyzes everything in a country. That's all that there is. Imagine that taking place in a first world country like the United States. That's terrible. Um, Health workers, 1,600 health workers have perished, have died, and patients as well. And unfortunately, sexual violence comes in part of these wars, and that's including rape, gang rape, abduction, forced marriage, and sexual slavery. A lot of times, this is actually from children. They have child brides. 14 million people have been displaced from their homes, and that's about a quarter of the population. Now, something else to understand is that there's a huge, even more than other countries that I've been looking at, they have a huge, crushing poverty rate. And so that poverty rate is fueling the conflict that is taking place. Um, so 14 million people displaced, 9 million internally displaced within Sudan, and 4.4 million refugees in neighboring countries, which is Chad, South Sudan, and Egypt. Um, so there's no meaningful progress in conflict. 21 million people face food insecurity and hunger. 6.3 million are in the most severe emergency abuse phases. Agricultural production has collapsed. Vet labs have been destroyed, preventing livestock vaccines. The health system is completely shattered. Over 40% of the population requires urgent health assistance. Hospitals are overwhelmed, understaffed. Disease outbreaks are widespread, and access to care is severely limited. So, public health, this is very important in public health because there's disease outbreaks when you have mass displacement. That's a given. Collapse of health infrastructure, food insecurity and famine risk, protection of vulnerable populations, and regional instability in Chad, South Sudan, and the Horn of Africa. So this is a very terrifying thing to be going through in a country, and as I said previously, this is something that is very difficult to deal with in a country. BBC has a nice article out there that goes into some of these things. These are two women that have been displaced, some children at the side. Um, so it's April 2023, which is 3 years ago. There was a struggle for power, and there were paramilitary groups that are making this a lot worse. The paramilitary groups are Rapid Support Forces, and they're known as RSF. Um, so 12 million people have fled from their homes. This is a dire emergency. As I said, Omar al-Bashir, he was toppled in 2019, and then somebody else came to power in the coup. Um, he actually came to power, Omar al-Bashir, in 1989. So he was ousted. So there's still much going on. RSF has 100,000 strong army, and then they lead the new force. Um, so there's shootings going on between the two sides starting in April 15, 2023. Like I said, there's a lot of humanitarian crises, food insecurity, starvation, famine, all of these displaced individuals from their homes, millions of people, and then there's crushing poverty rates in Sudan. Um, and that's terrible. 30 to 40% are in poverty. So there's a lot going on. I hope this has made some sense. Thank you for listening.